We learned about the three ways that there are in doing mitzvahs. And the point is that when Hashem gave the Torah down here, there's two aspects to it. There's the Torah, which is spiritual. There's the world, which is physical. The whole point is to put the two together. The Torah, which is the opposite of the world. It's defined by it being spiritual, and the world, which is defined by it being physical. But the way to take these two polar opposites and put them together is by bringing something that's higher than both of them, that causes the two of them to lose their definition, to no longer be defined as a specific thing. The physical is no longer physical and the spiritual is no longer spiritual. They're both just something that's higher than both of them, which is the will of Hashem. And the Rebbe explained that in the way of fulfilling the mitzvahs, there's these three ways. One person fulfills the mitzvahs in a physical manner. He fulfills the mitzvahs because that's what he does. That's how he's used to, that's what he was taught, and that's the way he does things. His mitzvahs is the body of the mitzvahs, which is connected to the body of the person. It's the physical fulfillment of mitzvahs. Another person fulfills the mitzvahs in a more spiritual way. He gets excited about it. He gets excited about the fact that he wants to do the mitzvahs, and that means he's fulfilling them spiritually. And the third person, he does it merely for one reason, because that's what Hashem wants. So it's only the will of Hashem which is above both the physical and spiritual. It's no longer for him. And the simple idea is that many people fulfill the mitzvahs for the physical reason. Very often, we fulfill the mitzvahs simply because that's what we do. Now, a lot of times what comes out with that is, since I do it because I have to, and because I'm used to it, or because I was taught to do it, so if I can get away from it, if I can find a way out, if I can find a heter, if I can find a way that I don't have to do it in the fullest sense, I'll be happy not to do it in the fullest sense. Then there's the person who learns Chassidus and he realizes there's a neshama, there's a soul, there's an excitement, there's a reason. He wants to do it, he wants to connect to the Eibishter. So he's not trying to get away from it. But yet, in this person also, since it's his spiritual fulfillment, there's a difference between mitzvahs that he enjoys, mitzvahs that he feels inspired to do, and mitzvahs that he doesn't feel the same inspiration. Then there's something deeper when a person does the mitzvahs because that's what Hashem wants. If that's what Hashem wants, there's no difference between one mitzvah and the other. All of them are equally the will of Hashem. And in this, the Rebbe explains that this is also in the mitzvahs themselves. Now, the fact that all these three are in the mitzvahs themselves means really that we do have to have each one of these three aspects. It's not like one way is the only way. Every person, when we do mitzvahs, we have to have one aspect that we do with Kabbalah Sel, because this is what I do. And there, the physical fulfillment of the mitzvah is what counts. Then we have to learn Chassidus and have an neshama and have a chayis and an excitement because I know I'm connecting to Hashem through doing the mitzvah. Then there's something deeper that when I do a mitzvah I have to know and realize I'm doing it because that's what Hashem wants me to do. It's above any type of limitation. It's above any type of I. It's not I, the physical I, and it's not I, the spiritual I. It's only Hashem and that's it. Now when Hashem gave the mitzvahs down here, one thing that the mitzvahs have is the physical aspect of the mitzvahs. The fact that the mitzvahs that were given to us down here, they were given into this world, they're involved in a physical way of fulfilling them. And the reason for this, the Gemara asks the question, does Hashem really care if we'll shecht an animal from the neck or from the nape? Minat tzava or minat from the front of the neck or the back of the neck? What's the difference? Says the Gemara, it's not that Hashem cares about that. The mitzvahs were given in order to refine the world, to refine the physical creations of the world. Which means to refine the human being that does the mitzvah, that the fact that he's told and limited and told that you have to do it specifically in a specific way that changes the person, that lifts up the person, that elevates the person, and to refine the physical objects of the world with which we do the mitzvah. And Chassidus even goes as far as to say that Hashem doesn't care about what we do, but rather about why does He care about what we do? Because He cares about the refinement of the world that happens as a result. That refinement of the world is the physical aspect of the mitzvah. The mitzvahs were given down here into the physical world to refine the physical world and the person that does the mitzvah. That's to refine the animal soul and the physical existence of the person. So there, when a person is doing the mitzvah, he's doing it for himself, for his physical existence, to refine and elevate his physical existence as well as the physical existence of the world around him. There's another aspect of the mitzvah. The fact that Hashem does the mitzvahs even before He commanded us. Magid devarav liYaakov, chukav u'mishpatav liYisrael. First He does it on His own because He wants to do it. Then He tells us to do the mitzvahs that He does. That's the aspect of the mitzvahs, of the fact that when we're doing a mitzvah, we're doing the mitzvah that Hashem does already on His own. That's the spiritual aspect of the mitzvah, and that's why the mitzvahs are called the Ramach. The 248 mitzvahs are considered to be the 248 limbs of Hashem, which means just like a limb draws energy from the soul, so also each mitzvah draws godly energy into the world. That's the spirituality of the mitzvah. When I do a mitzvah, I'm connecting to the godly energy which is drawn as a result of this mitzvah. And more than that, when I do the mitzvahs that Hashem Himself does, I'm connecting to this spirituality in a way of v'chai bahem, that I actually live through the mitzvahs, that the mitzvahs cause me life and sustenance, so that spirituality becomes my life. That's an amazing thing, that a person down here can live a spiritual life. That aspect is also limited and defined, and that's why also in this aspect of the mitzvahs there's 248 mitzvahs. There are 613 altogether, which means that the mitzvahs are called darchei havaya, the ways of Hashem, the paths of Hashem, but they are defined, they're limited, they're separated into different aspects, because it's not Hashem Himself that's beyond separation, it's separated in the spiritual sense. Then there's the essence of the mitzvah, the fact that it's Hashem's will. That's what Hashem wants. It's not connected to the physical world that it comes down into. It's not connected even to the spirituality that it's connected to. It's merely the will of Hashem. That's what Hashem wants. That is one with Hashem, and that's it. There's nothing else. And because of that, a person, when he realizes the will of Hashem, does it only because Hashem wants it. There's no me, there's no physical me, there's no spiritual me. There's only this is what Hashem wants. Now the Rebbe continues that this is the way it is in mitzvahs. There's these three ways of fulfilling the mitzvahs. And like we said, each one of them is important. There's the physical aspect of the mitzvah, there's the spiritual, the neshama aspect of the mitzvah, and there's the deeper essence. I'm doing a mitzvah because this is what Hashem told me to do. No reasons, because this is what Hashem told me to do, because this is what Hashem wants. And really the mitzvahs have in them these three aspects as well. Now the Rebbe continues that because Torah, we're talking about matan Torah, giving the Torah. So in addition to the fact that Torah is also a mitzvah just like any of the mitzvahs, and therefore has these three aspects, but in Torah itself you have it specifically, which is the fact that you have the way that a person can learn Torah, the physical aspect. He learns it because Torah is an intellectual pursuit. Torah is a wise idea. Torah is the greatest wisdom that there is. Even the nations of the world, even the nations of the world all recognize and realize the great superior intellect that there is in Torah. So you have a person that he's learning Torah because of his physical reason. By nature he loves intellectual things, and this is the most intellectual thing there is. There's nothing greater for him than learning a Blat Gemara, learning a Rashba, learning a Vart Chassidus, a Maimer Chassidus. It makes so much sense, it's so exciting, it's wonderful. This person, when he's learning Torah, he's pursuing his physical being, the intellect of his animal soul, the intellect of his physical essence. That's why he's learning Torah. Then you have a person who's learning Torah because he loves Hashem, and he wants to connect to Him. And the only way to connect to Hashem is by learning His Torah, because the Torah, through learning the Torah of Hashem, we become one with Hashem. That's the second way of learning Torah. I'm doing it because I want to connect to Hashem. The third aspect that there is in learning Torah is not because of the intellectual essence of it. That means because of my physical existence. Not because my neshama yearns to connect to Hashem. Because Torah is one with Hashem. I'm learning Torah because that is the will and wisdom of Hashem. It is one with Hashem. I'm learning and connecting. I'm grasping Hashem. And the idea of this can be compared to a person, if someone didn't see his father for a long time. His father comes, he hugs his father. Is it because he wants to? Because he'll get something out of it? Because he'll even get a pleasure? He does it because here's his father, he wants to hug him. And it's the same thing when we learn Torah, we're hugging Hashem. It's not, I'm not doing it in order to. It's at every possible moment I'm doing that. And in truth, Torah has in it also these two aspects. These three aspects. Because Torah is wisdom. It's Chachma and Seichel. Torah is one with Hashem. Ayraisa, v'kochabrichu kula chad. And therefore, when a Jew learns Torah through the Torah, one becomes also one with Hashem. And then there's the highest idea of Torah. Anoichi is Rosh Tevis. Ana nafshi ksavis yavis. Hashem says, I gave myself, I wrote myself, and I gave myself into Torah. Its atzmos is the essence of Hashem beyond anything else. And the Rebbe continues that really we have that also in Hilchis Talmud Torah. There's three mitzvahs, there's three aspects of the mitzvah of learning Torah. One aspect of the mitzvah of learning Torah is a simple aspect. We learn Torah in order to know as Hamaisa Shayasu. If I want to know what to do, I have to learn Torah. That's Torah in a sense for the physical being of doing and performing and fulfilling my mission in this physical world. So that's Torah in order to act. That motive, so to speak, is in a way of speaking, it's a physical motive. It's a motive of being able to fulfill the mitzvahs physically. Then there's another aspect of Torah which is called Yedias HaTorah. There's a mitzvah to know the entire Torah. What's the mitzvah of knowing Torah? In order that my mind becomes enveloped with the essence of Hashem, which is to know and be encompassed fully with the Torah. That's not knowing what to do, that's just to know Torah, to know and understand and have my mind grasp the wisdom of Hashem. That's the Torah for the spiritual sense of my neshama becoming one with Hashem. Then there's the deeper idea of the mitzvah of Gisa B'Yom V'Layla. There's a mitzvah just to learn Torah for the sake of Torah. To learn Torah all the time, not in order to know what to do, not even in order to know Torah, just because this is Hashem's wisdom. I learn it, I want to learn it. And you see this also in the fact that the mitzvah of knowing what to do, obviously it's limited because you can know everything that you have to know in order to know what to do. Even the mitzvah of Yedias HaTorah, there were some people that knew the entire Torah. Aruka me'eretz midah, when it says that the Torah's measurement is longer than the earth, that it's impossible to grasp the entire Torah, that means the pilpul and the questions and answers. But to know the entire Torah, there are people who know the entire Torah. But the mitzvah of Agisa B'Yom V'Layla, that's not limited. At every given moment that I have to learn it. And there we find actually a very interesting thing. Because the mitzvah of Agisa B'Yom V'Layla is to each person according to his abilities. A person that's a businessman and by his divine mission in this world, he has to be involved in other things. It's enough that he learns one chapter in the morning, one chapter in the night. With that, he's fulfilling the mitzvah of Agisa B'Yom V'Layla. A person who has time, even if he stops one moment from learning Torah, he's already, it's called Dvar Hashem Baza. Why? Because it's not a mitzvah which can be limited. It's something which is equal actually to everyone. Everyone has to learn whatever they can at every moment. It's not how much I learn. It's the fact that I'm always learning Torah because it's Hashem's wisdom. Because this is one with Hashem. And that's why there's the idea of in this mitzvah of Agisa B'Yom V'Layla, it's all the time. The Rambam in Hilchis Talmud Torah writes that the mitzvah of learning Torah is for everybody at all times, whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you're a Bal Yisurim, whether you're a person who everything goes well for you. Always a person has to be learning Torah. The Rebbe continues to go even in a further essence, that even the mitzvah of Agisa B'Yom V'Layla, because it's a mitzvah, it's a commandment to the person, it's also limited day and night. Yes, there's no time that's not day and night, but still there's certain times and certain places when a person is exempt from learning Torah. But when it comes to the idea and the essence of a person's learning Torah because it is one with Hashem, then even when he's not obligated in the mitzvah, even when it's a time or place that he's not obligated, he'll always be learning Torah at every possible moment because it's one with Hashem. Stop at this.